So I support a lot of women that are trying for a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. And when a lot of these women initially come to me, they're terrified about the thought of it because people have made them believe that they are incredibly dangerous. Like their intuition is saying, I want to try for this, like this feels right, but there's all these fears and so many naysayers. So I'm going to tackle that question. Are VBACs really as dangerous as many would have you believe? And why are they frowned upon in so many areas? So the first thing that I want to get out right off the bat is you are a great candidate for a VBAC if you are having a healthy pregnancy, if at least 18 months has passed since your last C-section, if you've never had a uterine rupture, and if your baby is head down. If you meet all that criteria, a VBAC is probably actually a safer option for you than a repeat C-section. A repeat surgery has all sorts of risks that I'll get into. So again, if you are a good candidate for a VBAC, it is a safer option for you. Now I'm going to throw some reassuring stats at you. Okay, or peer-reviewed information. Okay, so according to the journal Obstetrics and Gynecology, a VBAC often decreases your risk of maternal mortality, the need for a hysterectomy, and complications in future pregnancies because it's helping you avoid, again, a repeat major abdominal surgery, which also lowers your risk for hemorrhage and infection and shortens postpartum recovery. Because as you obviously know, if you've had a C-section, the postpartum recovery is much more intense than what women, or most women that have a vaginal birth, experience. And then, according to the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, they also affirm that a VBAC is very safe for women that are a good candidate. But despite lots of data that's been gathered about the safety of VBACs, many are still really hesitant to support a VBAC because they're worried about uterine rupture, which can cause a lot of bleeding. It can be dangerous. But going back to that study published in Obstetrics and Gynecology, if you had a previous cesarean with what's called a low transverse incision, which is really the most common type of incision that's used for C-sections now, your risk of uterine rupture during a vaginal delivery is only 1%. And they also find that 60 to 80% of women who are good candidates for a VBAC will have a successful VBAC. So again, the risk for uterine rupture is actually pretty low, again, if you are a good candidate. Okay, beyond that fear of uterine rupture, why are so many care providers so hesitant to say yes to a VBAC? A big concern is the risk of liability. So a lot of care providers would prefer you have a repeat C-section because if anything happens, they can say, well, we did absolutely everything we could because a C-section is the most invasive option. So it significantly reduces their risk for litigation. And the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, they actually did a study that found, or a survey that found, that 30% of obstetricians stopped offering VBACs because of concern around liability and litigation. It wasn't even the uterine rupture. They were so afraid of being sued if anything happened during a VBAC. The good news is there are still plenty of care providers out there that will support a VBAC. I'm going to help you find them. I'm actually going to publish a video right after this one that is all about how to find a care provider that will support VBAC. So I'm going to touch on it now, but the next video will be much more comprehensive about how to find that person. Okay, so yeah, finding that care provider who is an advocate. The trick here is when you're meeting with somebody and you're letting them know that you want to try for a VBAC, if they say, yeah, we'll let you try, why not? If anything happens, we'll just have a repeat C-section, no worries. I would be a little bit leery of that. You want somebody that after, it's confirmed that you're a good candidate, that's like, yes, like, I really think that a VBAC would be a great option for you. You're a great candidate. We're going to do everything that we can to get you that VBAC. Of course, top priority is keeping mom and baby safe and healthy. But you want somebody that's going to be like jazzed about it and enthusiastic about your ability to do it. You don't want something that's like, yeah, maybe you can have the VBAC. You want like a cheerleader, a champion, an advocate. Okay, you can also, or you should also get a copy of the surgical reports from your last C-section. This will allow you to see why you had the C-section, what type of incision that they made, if there were any complications. This will really help to inform if you're a good candidate for a VBAC. You also want to equip yourself with knowledge, because there are going to be plenty of people that go like this when they hear that you're going for a VBAC. So I'm going to parrot some of the stats that I shared earlier in this video. So if somebody's like, oh my God, you're trying for a VBAC, that's so dangerous. Why would you do that? You can say, well, actually, a VBAC is usually safer than a repeat C-section because it decreases the risk of maternal mortality, your need for a hysterectomy, complications in future pregnancies, lowers the risk of hemorrhage, infection, and shortens postpartum recovery. In addition, there is only a 1% risk of uterine rupture in women that are good candidates, and 60 to 80% of women who attempt a VBAC have one. Mic drop. Equip yourself with that information to share with the naysayers, while also remembering that you do not have to defend your decision to get a VBAC. So if somebody starts questioning you about it, you can simply say, that's what feels best for me. Thanks for asking. You don't have to say anything else. You don't have to defend yourself, but if you want to, there's information you can use. I also encourage you to utilize the International Cesarean Awareness Network. Their acronym is ICAN. They have chapters all over the United States, and connecting with those chapters can provide a wealth of knowledge. Number one, it can help you find VBAC supportive care providers. It can provide information about different ways of increasing your chances of having one. They also have a hotline that you can call during birth. If you feel like you're being pressured into a repeat C-section, you can call and you can be connected with somebody that can talk you through the process of advocating for your rights and advocating for your right to try for a VBAC. And finally, if all of the kind of negative chatter about VBACs starts getting to you, you can try to use, or not try, you can repeat a one or all of these affirmations to yourself, just to like solidify your trust in your body, your intuition for trying for that VBAC. So my C-section scar heals more and more every day. My C-section scar is incredibly strong and will not rupture. My body will do exactly what it needs to do to have a vaginal birth. I will have a happy and healthy VBAC. I trust my decision to have a VBAC. I am doing the best thing for myself and my baby, and I will be lovingly supported through my VBAC. So that just if you are a good candidate for a VBAC and you really want a VBAC, that's actually the last thing I want to say. If you don't feel like you want a VBAC, if you feel more comfortable with a repeat C-section, there's nothing wrong with that. Even if you're a great candidate for a VBAC, you have every right to say, you know what, I just don't feel comfortable with it. I want to go with the repeat C-section. Absolutely do that. This video is mainly just to empower, the women that want that VBAC, but everybody's saying, no, you can't, you can't, you can't, to figure out how to move forward with that. Again, if that's what feels best for you. Okay, if you have any questions about this, C-sections, anything else about pregnancy, childbirth, early motherhood, let me know in the comments below.